Okay, so we'll carry on with this part here. So today we're going to concentrate on this shaft here. So this is a square shaft which fits into this block here, which on our one is this block here. So it looks to me like this is a square hole going through this part, and possibly goes all the way through, so you can have some adjustment there, or I don't know, I'm only guessing. Okay, so on our one we're going to do a round hole. We'll ream a 10mm hole there, and we'll take it down probably to about here. If we go any deeper, we're going to interfere with our shaft here, and that will enable us then to, we'll machine up a square shaft with a round portion on the end to fit in there. So that's all pretty straightforward. The only thing what we have to be careful of when we set this up to do this hole, we've got to make sure that we are true to this face. So we'll get it clamped up in the mill and we'll show you how we do it. Okay, so we've just got a stud set up there. We'll pop him about there, just a strap clamp. Now, we only want this one very lightly nipped because we don't want to break this casting. Okay, now to support this part where we're drilling, we've got a 1, 2, 3 block and a stud screwed into it with another strap clamp. I think we'll just pop him in, just adjust this across. Should be able to pop him in like that, and something like that. So you might put a packer under there. Eventually we'll get there. Okay, that's looking pretty good there. Okay, so we can indicate off this face here if we wanted to, just to make sure that we are square to the machine axis there for when we pick up our centre point. We're going to need another clamp to hold this block, so what we'll do is I'll put another stud in with a T-slot nut, another 1, 2, 3 block, and we can just put a clamp straight down onto there. What I will do is just, I've got some more of this thin aluminium packing, we'll just put it under the clamps just to give our 1, 2, 3 blocks a bit of protection. So once we've indicated this face in, we can nip this down. Okay, let's get set up with an indicator. Actually, that looks a bit, I might just angle this around a bit. That's okay, that's better. Okay. Something like that. Come down the end. Okay. Okay, that's looking pretty good there. That needle's not moving, so we can nip our part down. That's all we need for there. There. And this one here. Make sure nothing's moved. Everything looks good there. Okay, so we'll get set up so we can find our centre position for our hole. So with our edge finder we'll pick up off this face here and we'll move across half the edge finder plus half the thickness of the block, which is 11.12 millimetres. So we've got 5, 10, 11.12. Okay, we'll just repeat the process for the other axis. So this is a shift of 14.32. We've got 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.32. Okay, we'll lock everything off. We'll put a drill in as we're right in the centre there now. We'll go with a spot drill. Okay, that's our first hole, 20 millimetres deep. Another bird's nest. Okay, so to do the measuring on our bores, we're just going to use our gauge pins. That one's a little bit loose. Next size up. That's pretty good. Next size up. Doesn't fit. These are actually imperial gauge pins. So we'll get a size on this one that was quite a neat fit. So that's 11.83. So that leaves us a cut then from 12mm. What we're aiming for is 0.17. So if we split that in half, 0.085 should be our finished cut. So we'll take another cut. Now, I am using the indicator as the graduations are bigger. Very hard to read these small ones there, so 0.085 we're after. Should be there. So we'll run this one through and it should come out on size. Bit of WD. Get the fuzz off. Okay, the nearest thing I've got to 12mm is this gauge pin, 0.473. It's actually 0.01 over. So stick him in. And I think that'll be good enough for what we need. So we'll just turn down the end of the rod to suit. That's a good fit in there. Just to suck itself back in. So yeah, we'll move on and get our rod started now. Okay, well, we'll make a start on our square shaft now. So we'll make it out of this. This is a piece of unknownium, God knows what. So once we start machining it, we'll give it the lick test and that'll tell us for sure. So with black bar like this, I'm not going to use my good chuck. So off with this one. And on with the old one. So find the match marks. There they are. Line it up with the match marks on here. I mentioned in an early video, it's not really advisable to hold shit like this in a good 3-jaw chuck. Use a 4-jaw if you got one, or I just use my old 3-jaw, that's fine, as it will shorten the life and accuracy of your chuck. Right, I'll get a tool set up and face this off. Okay, let's see what the scraptonium is. 1400, we're running a lathe flat out 1400 RPM. I don't usually use this high range of speeds because it's makes a few weird noises inside the headstock, which is a job we still have to attend to, but we'll see how it goes with this bar here. Just check our size. Okay. Yeah, well, turns alright. Just take another millimetre off it. It's 18 mil there, and we've got to take it down to 17 mil, but that's, I might just take half a mil off that and be done with it, because it is going to get machine square. So let's just take half a mil off. So the very end of it here we'll have to turn down to 12mm to suit our hole that we just machined previously. Bloody mild steel, old piece of black bar. Okay, we've turned up our bit of scraptonium. We've got a 12mm step turned on one end, and this will locate in here. We will machine a flat on here to pick up on a grub screw, which top and bottom will put in, and that will keep it orientated in the correct location. So what we're going to do now is set this up in the mill, and we'll machine a square on it, probably 1/2 inch or 12mm square. So that'll be the adjustable rest lengthwise for the finger indexer. So when you're grinding your cutter, you keep it the correct helix orientation in check, and you can grind the sides of the end mill. So off to the mill and we'll get this square. It's a bit long, but we'll shorten that up afterwards. So we have our bar, as you can see, set up in the indexing head here. So we're using this indicator just to check to make sure we are on the right plane that way, as we want it parallel with the bed, with the machine. And we've also checked it in this plane as well. So that's close enough for what we want. We're sort of within a thou, probably better. What we've got to do next, because we are going to use our tailstock, so we've got to make sure the tailstock doesn't influence the bar. So as you can see, just with me flexing it by hand, I can flex this quite easily, 5 thou in either direction. So that's good old mild steel for you. So I'll bring you in a bit closer and I'll show you what I'm checking for with the tailstock. So as I bring the tailstock, it's just loose at the moment, as I bring it into the centre of the workpiece, if you watch this gauge here, what I want to avoid is any deflection like that. So I've got to keep that on 0. Then we'll tighten down the tailstock and then we'll deal with any deflection in the vertical plane. So I can nip this one down now. Okay, so we've done all right there. Now the vertical plane, it's moved down a thou. So on this tailstock I can adjust the height quite easily. So I'll bring you back a bit. We have this knob here and a locking screw at the back. So we slacken off the lock and we can adjust this knob here and it will raise or lower the tailstock point. So we'll slacken him off. We'll get it back on 0. Okay, so both our needles are sitting on 0. Back the tailstock out of it. Nothing's moved. Wind him back in, tighten it up, okay, we've had a thou movement then in the vertical, so I'll slacken the vertical back off a bit. And readjust it. Oop. There. Okay, so we're all set, and our tailstock is not influencing the centre axis of our rod. So that's how you do that.